On today's show, KB, the Don, and myself are going to break down the fall superhero and comic book television schedule. There's just so much content coming out. We'll tell you what we're looking forward to. All this and much, much more on this episode of Free Your Geek.
By the power of Grayskull, Autobots, roll out.
Corporate time! Cool.
You have failed this city.
Winter is coming.
Star-Lord.
Finish him. Hadouken! Fatality.
And welcome to the Free Your Geek Show here live at 59 Media Studios. I am your host, Jay Free. In the studio, my two very still employed co-hosts after the last little publicity stunt they pulled, unbeknownst to me. Welcome, KB.
What's up, brother?
And the Don.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, gentlemen? We're on this every other week schedule, so it's kind of cool. We will be back next week, though. We'll talk about that toward the end of the show, but we have a very interesting guest next week that we'll preview a little bit. And speaking of previews, we're going to be talking about the 2017 fall TV preview for all of our favorite comic book shows, and whatnot.
Quite a few of them out there.
Quite a few, absolutely. Yeah, so let's get right into it. But before, actually, you know what? No, before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about something I did.
Please.
So as some of
Had
you,
a date with Dazzler?
that would be amazing.
Oh,
Allison Blair.
I'm gonna lay off
Hell
him.
Couldn't resist.
Oh, boy.
You guys are jerks. But no, what has happened was over the last weekend, I went to New Jersey, Secaucus, New Jersey, and went to go see the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest, which is typically all the CW actors and actresses from The Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and there were some Gotham people there. It's a lot of DC-heavy actors.
A lot of B-level by using the letter CW.
Well,
I'm teasing.
what
Everybody
about-
who knows me knows I bomb on CW. I
You
feel
do.
bad because you didn't pick up on that.
No, you do,
Took
and
me
that-
serious.
and that's okay. You know,
Oh man.
it's perfectly fine. So I do want to kind of get into that a little bit just to show you folks at home. For those listening on the audio, the podcast version as well, thank you so much. But this is going to be more visual for the people watching on Facebook Live right now. But I do want to get into real quick. I'm going to pull up an image, and you'll be able to see Jay Free hanging out with a bunch of different stars. To the picture on the left, on the top column, or the top row rather, I'm hanging with the Katie's, Katie Cassidy and Katie Lotz. In the bottom row, it's myself and David Ramsey and Katrina Law. Katrina Law was a doll per usual, but she was repping her Philadelphia Eagles jersey. I had to rub it in her face that they lost that day, which
boy.
was fantastic. And
He's
then on
such
the
a
right,
charmer. Ladies, watch out for this one.
yeah, well, hey, it's true. It's true. That's a little Kurt Angle reference. And then on the right side, the right pictures, you see myself with Robin Lord Taylor, who plays the Penguin, and as well as Maggie Gayha, and I don't remember the actor's name that plays Bruce Wayne, and I should have looked that up, and I am totally unprepared for that.
Wow.
But we have the Gotham folks on the, and let me just say, Maggie Gayha loved my Poison Ivy shirt, but I was repping the Free Your Geek shirt, trying to get some more people interested and involved with the show. Didn't get a chance to meet Stephen Amell, but I do have a shirt for Stephen Amell next time I see him. So then next time he rocks it out and he's wearing a Free Your Geek shirt.
Little promo.
Yeah.
Never hurts. That's
So that's just I just want to touch upon that real quick.
Look at that handsome devil.
Robin Lord Taylor, yeah, he's all right.
I know, and then I don't know this guy he's standing next to. I feel
Yeah, he's rocking that bald head. My head looks weird in that picture with Robin Lord Taylor because it looks like almost like Conehead style.
My head looks weird. He says
It does.
it's just a little off balance, mate.
Yes, it's almost like a Dr. Evil type shaped head, you know.
That it is.
Oh,
we are-
yes, Mr. Bigglesworth. That
How
was
about
actually.
how about no?
No,
Okay.
you dirty girl, you. Did you shag a rotten?
Any one of those ladies would have been awesome. But no,
Alata? Was Alata your favorite?
we're not going to go that
The
route. We're
Italian
not going
bed.
gutter. We're not going gutter. But Rich Marini on Facebook Live saying, "What's up, Rich?"
Was that?
Rich will be here next
What's up,
week.
Rich?
Little preview for next week. We'll talk about that. So
at
that being
previews.
said, let's talk about. I provided some notes for everyone.
Because we don't do our homework. He does.
Yes.
Right. So I want you guys to all look like
It's, you know,
reputable
when
journalists.
when the bullies pick on the geeks to do their homework, that's kind of Don and I kind of.
you guys are the bullies.
Well, we picked on you last week. Remember
Listen,
the
I
Dazzler
told you
show?
I needed this in my handwriting, all right? This is going to cost you. Give me your lunch money.
You're gonna get a bad grade. You're not. Hey, I want to make it. I changed the language to make it a little bit more simplistic. That way, the teacher actually did think you.
You know,
You
I
wrote that.
like getting B+ work from you. You know what? I like that. That's good.
You don't wanna set off any red flags.
I'm very
Yeah, this is
impressed.
like a D- though, I think. Anyway,
Well, you guys are jerks. Anywho, point being, we're going to be talking about fall TV as far as the geek realm, the comic book realm, the superhero realm. What's coming down the pipeline? We're almost starting October. Tomorrow is today's the last day of 30 days. Today's the 28th. We've got 2 more days.
Oh.
It's not February. But 2 more days till the end of September, and then October starts, and we're officially in fall season.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of TV shows returning in October that I want to talk about. So I made a day-by-day
New stuff, too.
preview. A lot of new stuff that I want to talk about too. So for folks watching on Facebook Live, you want to chime in with your thoughts on any of these, feel free. But first, let's talk about the stuff that's currently on both network TV and streaming services. We already kind of talked about The Defenders, but The Defenders is out now on Netflix.
Yeah.
I love the series.
It was good.
So any other thing before we talk, because we're going to be talking about the other streaming shows to be announced coming in 2018. So there's some stuff coming down the pipeline there. I do want to talk about, though, for fans of the CW series, they have the character Vixen, who appeared on Arrow, but they also have her own show via an animated series where the actress that portrays her on Arrow also does the voice. And they're currently on season 2 on the CW Seed, which is the CW's streaming app. Another series, which is on one of our favorite networks, AMC, Walking Dead,
yes.
shout out. But Preacher, season 2, and Fear the Walking Dead, season 3, part 2. I am not keeping up to date with any of those. And
No. I watched the first episode of Preacher. Seemed pretty interesting, but didn't follow up. Fear the Walking Dead. I
I saw
want
the
to
first
say,
season and a half.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
And then I
It's-
kind of fell off a little bit.
right? It took the first break, and then you didn't feel interested enough to
Yeah.
get back into it because
Yeah.
that's.
But now people are saying it's really good.
I
Gotten
hear
a lot
that.
better. So I may give it another try.
I think it'll be better for us too that we get to binge watch it now too.
Yep.
Without the hanging week to week with the show that like we
Yeah.
already love Walking Dead, so we know what our
We deal with that
expecta-
already.
Yeah,
the week to week.
We know what our expectations are
Yep.
from the franchise. So
Yep.
I think getting to just
It's probably a more binge kind of show.
yeah, definitely.
And speaking of binge watching, you have the streaming services on Amazon right now, season 1.
The Tick.
The Tick.
That's interesting.
I used to love the cartoon as a child.
Yeah, Fox Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. And to your point, Don, I think right now the amount of TV that we have
Yeah.
for show, like just this way too much TV on, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But that's why with some of those streaming services, like a Netflix, like an Amazon, like a CW Seed, like anything else that they do, stream services, I think that's great because you get to binge watch if you don't watch it live on air. And I think I've talked about this ad nauseum to friends of mine, where I think that the Nielsen rating system, how they use to like talk about like television shows, I think it's an antiquated system. I don't think it's accurate. I think it's kind of passe, if you will.
We're getting to a point where everyone has their own streaming service now. Literally, cable is about to be as dead as Blockbuster Video, and even
going that way.
Even beyond that, I mean, Redbox is about to be killed too. Streaming services are the complete way
Well,
in my eyes.
And I agree with you, but here's the everybody wants a piece of the cake now. What if you get to the point where streaming services are actually more expensive than cable?
Because you need to get all of these different ones and they add
Because
up
not only
to
do
more
you
than what your
need an
cable
internet
is.
service provider, but I'm saying you're talking HBO,
Okay,
if you-
$10.
right? Showtime if you watch any of the Showtime shows.
Okay, but ready. So, real quick. So, if you get Hulu,
yeah,
and I'm talking about the best Hulu package with the Showtime added on, it's $16 a month.
Yep.
So then you add your say $10 a month for your Netflix, your granted, you pay for you pay Amazon Prime for the year.
HBO.
Right.
HBO's $10. I mean, like realistically, if you wanted every single streaming service, like
Well-
all the mainstream
But
ones,
you're still paying like $90 a month for your internet.
okay. Internet
That's
comes out to
where you're-
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm saying it's going to be, but I agree. I think cable is going to any cable provider is going to need to kind of balance that out. But we talk about and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Marvel's coming out with their own streaming service. DC is coming out with their own.
Disney's
streaming
been
service.
talking about because Disney was talking about pulling
Disney,
the Netflix
Disney's
shows.
genius. Like,
Right.
No, there's no way of getting around that. Like Disney's genius. Like watch like all the crazy stuff we're gonna get with Star Wars now, Marvel, like everything that they're gonna push out.
It'll be
now is
Star
gonna be-
Wars and Marvel streaming services of their own someday.
Yes, absolutely.
And I agree with that. I just think it's going to be a point where it's going to be more a la carte, where you're going to get to pick and choose which streaming services you want. So I think cable's eventually going to follow suit and let you pick the channels like a part of a package type of thing. They're
Well,
going to
I
have
mean,
to survive.
That would be smarter. Wow, we're just geeking out over like stuff that we like. Look at this. I was geeking out
Technology.
over exactly technology. And that's what it's about. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Comcast could just set up their own thing. Like if they were smart, their own streaming service where you could build your own package
Right.
there, like flat rate. This is
Well,
what it is.
not just that. Now we have these other like providers. So PlayStation, what is it? PlayStation View.
Yep.
Ugh.
But again, to each their. Netflix, I think, is going to
Sling.
start doing live TV. Sling.
Yep.
YouTube is coming up with their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be live TV via the internet. So cable could be a thing of the past.
5 more years, maybe.
If that, I mean, yo, you got your boy Chip calling you out right now.
It's awesome.
He's saying Donnie. So, welcome, Chip. Welcome to Free Your Geek, where we talk about all things geek. If this
You
is
guys
your first
would
time,
love him. He would be great.
well, we'll have
sit
to.
here.
Well, we'll have to get him on as a
Come on.
guest one
Yeah.
of these weeks. But we were talking about the different types of streaming options. But now let's talk about network TV right now. Let's go ahead.
This is what I always want to touch upon too. It's something that we usually focus on, like certain areas, like because obviously we all geek out. But you make the point, like everybody geeks out about something. There's like HBO puts out tons of great shows, but we don't really touch on shows like Vinyl, which was like a big thing last season. That show's really, really good. Right now they have the Deuce on, James Franco. Like these shows are like stuff that I would like love to just like get it out there. Like you guys are
Stars.
showing this stuff.
Stars is lots of good stuff too.
So
People
here's what
forget
we-
about Black Sails.
Black Sails, yeah.
How many pirate shows are out there?
Not a whole lot.
And it
actually.
was really
But-
good.
Here's the deal. Then this is what we do. We do a show where we'll call it kind of like deep cuts or something like that,
Deep
and
cuts.
we'll just talk about other shows that you might not be aware of. I'll take a back seat. You want to bring in a guest that watches
Okay.
something else. I'll sit off camera and just run the show, man, and then you guys can do
Power.
Rich, I love you, buddy, but stop with the horror comments. We're talking fall TV right now. You'll be here next week to talk all about horror, and it'll be great. Again, I keep previewing what's going to happen next week, but let's preview the fall TV schedule, starting with Mondays. Mondays, starting October 2nd, we have a show on Fox starting season 1 called The Gifted. Quick synopsis of that is 2 ordinary parents take their family on the run from the government when they discover that their children have mutant abilities and join an underground community of mutants who have to fight to survive.
Was Singer behind this show?
Brian Singer is going to be directing, I believe, the first episode, the pilot, or he did direct.
It's gotten good reviews so far.
Yeah,
People that have seen it.
I'm loving it. For those fans that are fans of the old Joss Whedon shows, Angel and Buffy, there was a character that was both on actually Angel and Dollhouse, an actress by the name of Amy Acker, who played Fred on Angel. I don't know her character on Dollhouse, but she's going to be playing the mother of the 2 young mutants, and the father is going to be actually work for like almost like a mutant liberation front or a mutant CIA who's supposed to be hunting mutants, and now he's conflicted because now his 2 children are mutants, and also I believe Jamie Chung is going to be playing Blink in this series. I'm not sure if that's absolutely correct. I know she's in it, or Blink's going to be a character, and I believe Jamie Chung is playing that character. So they're bringing the X-Men. It's almost going to be like a New Mutants, if you will, because I believe in the preview, one of the characters says, "I don't even think the X-Men exist anymore." So it's going to loosely be tied to the X-Men universe, maybe the films as well. But I'm very much looking forward to that.
Well, here's a little segue right here. I noticed you mentioned Angel. And they have this new upcoming show, Navy SEALs or like SEAL Team something, and they're promoting it. They're like, "Oh, Angel's in the show.
David
it's
Boreanaz,
Angel,"
yeah,
you know. And it's funny because I look at that show and I'm like, this is just like another one of those like, you know, like a Grey's Anatomy type shows, except they're switching from hospital to military. They're putting action in it, so like the boyfriends will sit and watch it with their girlfriends. Like this is like that new like era of like fall TV. Like let's cuddle on the couch, have snacks, and watch some Navy SEALs. Baby, there's guns in it. Okay, I'll watch it.
So
Like, that's what I see.
It's a little bit. It's a show for couples. You have a little bit of
Gotta
everything.
have those.
You
man.
gotta have a couple of shows, yeah.
Real quick, I just want to jump on Facebook Live. John Viveris is saying, "What's up,
Johnny
fellas?"
V.
And Joe Amaral, frequent guest of the show. We'll have him on again soon for Thor Ragnarok when we go see that. But
That guy is awesome.
Joe
is a
Joe's
funny,
the
funny
man, and
mofo.
he's saying you're styling, Donnie. He says
Styling and profiling.
he's a British Ric Flair right there.
I think I went more on the Irish end on that one.
Okay, so Irish.
Okay,
Irish
the Irish
Flair.
Ric Flair. Woo! Let's have some potatoes. Anyway, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Shake them dice
Okay,
up.
okay, so let's keep moving on. So we're gonna jump into my realm. I know, Donnie, this is not really your
Womp womp.
area,
No, it's okay.
but
Supergirl.
October 9th, season 3 starts of Supergirl via the Den of Geek. Just a quick synopsis: Kara deals with the loss of Mon-El. So at the end of last season, the Daxamites invaded. She had to set
It's a
off
good
a
season
bomb
last
from
season.
Lena Luthor
Yeah.
to poison all the Daxamites. So the love of her life had to take off, and now he looks like he's going to be joining the Legion. Is that what they call it? I can't remember
Think
now.
so.
The futuristic team from like the 31st century. So it looks like that's what he's doing. I'm really pumped with this. They're going to be doing a huge crossover with all the other series, and it's going to deal with all their doppelgangers
That
from Earth 10.
crossover that they
See-
did last time was
awesome.
really good.
I gotta say this, like, I'm not like a big hater on DC at all, but their animated stuff to me is the only stuff that really holds up. I mean, besides the Batman franchise, realistically, like animated, they even got Marvel beat in my eyes. Like, granted, we have like those 3 classic Marvel shows, but I mean everything up to date right now. I mean, this
The
is my
newer stuff
opinion.
that they
Right,
put
right,
out
no.
on like Blu-ray and
Yes.
Let me.
Straight to
But
DVD
see again.
release
I'll just throw my 2
stream,
cents in.
yeah.
The current DC animated flicks that have come out, not a huge fan of. I just watched Batman and Harley Quinn.
Oh.
Absolutely hated it.
Well, they're gonna try to push that because of Harley Quinn.
Right, they made it. They just. But if you're going to do that, get the actress that did the voice in the video game, or the one that did it in the animated
the-
series.
yeah.
They
Who-
got the girl from that plays Bernadette from The Big Bang Theory to do the voice of Harley Quinn, and they made it super sexualized. Like it was just
Yeah, they ruined it.
yeah, they tried to do a
ruined
little
it.
bit too much. Quick shout out to Erin Ferrer Sullivan on Facebook Live. She was here for our Game of Thrones episodes. And what up, E? Welcome to the show. But moving along to Tuesdays now. After Supergirl on Mondays, that's pretty much our Monday schedule. Tuesdays, starting October 10th, we have both The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. The Flash is going to be awesome because as of last season, Barry created Flashpoint, and he had to run back into the Time Force to basically sacrifice himself to stabilize a wormhole that had opened up. And just a quick synopsis here from Den of Geek. Running against an evil time-remnant version of yourself is something no one should ever have to do, but that's exactly what faced Barry Allen as he fought to save the life of his fiancée, Iris West, from the god of speed known as Savitar, which was also a future Barry Allen, all scarred from the future. A couple things I want to talk about. They're going to be bringing in Ralph Dinby, the elongated man, into The Flash, played by Hartley Sawyer. They're also going to be bringing in Danny Trejo as
That's
a
interesting.
breacher, as he's going to be a hunter who's going to basically hunt. I believe he's going to be Gypsy's father, and Gypsy hunts these people that jump between Earth. So I wonder if Breacher's going to be doing the same thing, or if he's on the run. We also have the main villain. Looks like it's going to be the Thinker, played by Neil. I don't even know how to say it, Sandilands, which is a cool name. And Katie Sackhoff is coming on as Amunet Black. So there's a couple different cool villains coming in. And then we talk about Legends of Tomorrow. Who doesn't like a time traveling team trying to set history right? When the Legends
Too
realize
confusing.
Yeah, this guy right here.
you don't like
You too?
No, I like
Oh,
it.
okay.
I'm just.
I'm a
making
big
jokes.
fan. I'm a big fan of.
I'm a fan. It's
time
good.
travel,
If you give it a chance, it's pretty good.
So the Legends get basically what's going to happen is after they basically effed up the timeline, Rip Hunter, played by Arthur Darvill, arrives with his new organization, the Time Bureau. The Legends are thrilled to get a chance to put the team back together, but a new threat arises when Heatwave, a.k.a. Rory, spots Julius Caesar in Aruba. So it's going to be pretty interesting. There's going to be new characters.
See, that's where it gets a little corny for me.
Well, it's all
like
about,
I get it, but
it's a very fun-loving show. I do want to say though that they are bringing in a new character called Zari, played by Tala Ash. Her character in the comics is known as Isis. Apparently, they're not going to be able to use that name anymore, so she's going to just be called Zari. And I'm very pumped for that show because to me, of all the CW shows, I think Legends had the most improvement with season 2. So I'm curious to see where they go with season 3. Then we move on to Thursdays, starting season 6.
Freeze show.
One of my favorite shows on October 12th, Arrow. Basically, what's happening with that is Adrian Trace, who played Prometheus, basically blew up the island with all of Oliver's allies. So who lived, who died, and what does this leave in store for the Green Arrow? But my favorite thing about this is I just looked at some new characters. An unknown villain is going to be coming, played by Michael freaking Emerson, who played Ben Linus on Lost, who I think is one of the greatest actors of all time. He's going to be playing a villain going against Felicity on Arrow, and I just can't wait to see what this dude brings to the table because he's one of my favorites. Let me just look at Facebook Live. Rich doing his due diligence said he just invited a couple of people to like the show and he wants them to become fans. Hey, Rich, thank you, buddy.
Rich, that was very scary. Good horror job.
Yeah.
Right there.
Arr. That was the scariest thing I could do. But going back to Thursdays, already on that started September 21st. Gotham
started
season
off
4.
with a bang.
I loved it. Gotham
awesome.
is amazing. They're bringing back Jonathan Crane back as the Scarecrow.
I know the Scarecrow stuff was
It's super
a
creepy.
nice little Scarecrow origin kind of thing.
And we're
going
finally
on.
seeing Bruce kind of step up as a vigilante a little
Yep.
bit. He doesn't have the Batman suit yet, but he's wearing all black. He's got a mask on.
I wonder how much further they're going to take
I think
the
they're
show.
going to keep pushing it. They have to. If it's still doing the ratings that it's doing on Fox, and again, like as
But
as I
what
said,
do you do when he gets to I don't know.
I think you show
where
him. You
show him as
keeps-
Batman.
No, I think that's.
Do you ever
I
show him
think
as
that's
Batman?
Last season, I think that's how you go out. Is you
That's
have
how
him
you go out.
putting on the cape and cowl. I think he's going to be. I think you're going to see him grow into Batman or Bruce
So
Wayne.
you'll
has
get another few years out of the show then.
I think you can get another 3 years tops. But what I think you do is I think you show him growing into, because one of the big pieces of the comics for Bruce Wayne is before he becomes Batman, he creates an alter ego known as Matches Malone, who is a gangster. It's how he gets into the entire organized crime circle, if
Gets
you will.
inside.
He gets his name known, and I don't think he can do that as a young teenager. So I think as he grows up a little bit, I think we see that storyline come into play.
Johnny Leathers is crazy. Jeepers.
So Johnny Leathers. So okay, I'll read this. I should start off by saying the views and opinions expressed here is that of Johnny Leathers and do not reflect For Your Geek or 59 Media. But Johnny Leathers said the fall TV lineup of 1995, the Full House. So the actual house that they shoot the exterior of for Full House was actually purchased recently by the series creator. However, the exterior house of Family Matters is set to be demolished next month. And then he does he should have put a hashtag, but it says white TV privilege. We don't do political statements here on the show because we like to keep it light and fun. So Johnny, thank you for that. Look to having you on at some point, or at least giving the leather report, as I like to call it, when he wants to do a little on-site thing.
We need to get Johnny back on.
We do. We need to get him back on. We just need to. If I could find a way to do a live blurring of his face, I think it would be fantastic.
Well, he always finds some kind of mask or something.
Yeah. We'll get him like a lucha mask, like a Mexican wrestler mask. I think that'd be fantastic.
Loco leather.
It's got to be an 80s thing, though.
Yeah. I think, or even like a Nacho Libre. I think a Nacho Libre mask would be.
No, I mean
fantastic.
for like a show topic.
We could do like early 90s, late 80s, absolutely. Or unless he's been in, we can talk about his movie that he's an extra on.
What movie was it now?
Johnny, tell me what movie
tell
that
us
is.
what movie it was.
It's the movie with it's the sequel to Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. Is it Daddy's
Home 2?
Yeah.
Come on.
I heard that Johnny might have a part in that movie.
Hey, Johnny Leather, if you like being an extra, go hang out in Marshfield, Mass, because Denzel Washington's going to be filming Equalizer 2 out there.
Really?
Yeah. You're going to see me like casually walking by putting up a bag of chips.
Yeah. Product placement.
That's
I love it. You wear your For Your Geek shirt on there.
man.
And
Oh, yeah.
Is he going to be fighting with a walker? Like, I mean, I love Denzel. I love me
Oh,
some
man.
Denzel. He's
You didn't see
awesome.
Equalizer?
No,
You
I
see-
did. No,
oh,
I did.
whew.
It was amazing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like he's got to be getting up there.
He's up there, yeah.
You know.
mean, hell-
Anyway,
Johnny did mention he was going to go on that.
Oh my God, I bet you were.
So Gotham is strolling along.
Strolling wrong. Did you
Strolling
anyone hear that?
along.
Oh.
Sorry, they're bringing in a new villain though, Professor Pig, who's basically he's a surgeon and he turns other people into his dolls, and he's a masochist and, a
we have
sadist.
Falcone coming back.
Well, we have Sophia Falcone, who's apparently they're thinking she's going to be the love interest of Jim Gordon after Jim Gordon killed Carbine Falcone's son, her brother. Now all of a sudden she's going to start dating him. I don't know what's going to
That's
happen with that.
interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
We will do a full show on this, but starting October 22nd, The Walking Dead Season 8 coming back to AMC. We're going to... Negan and Rick are still at odds, and looks like we're going to have an all-out war.
I think this. I feel like last season was like filler.
Yeah.
Most of last season
Until the
was
last
filler
like,
to
2
build
episodes.
to like the last 2 episodes. A lot of people that normally would watch the show said that they didn't even watch a lot of the like mid-season. There's
Yeah.
people that I know that were just like, after like episode 2 or 3, I quit, and then they didn't get back to it.
See, I don't like that they're gonna do the. This is only my opinion. I don't like that they're doing the time hop thing. I don't like that we get to see Old Man Rick in the preview. That takes away the appeal of
Yeah.
Rick's life, because now Rick's life will never really be in the balance because we see Rick as an old man. That bums me out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could. I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to show. I almost want to think it's going to be treated like almost not to go back to Lost again, but where they're going to do like flash forwards, where it's going to be all stuff, and then they're going to show you the past, how it led up to that moment.
Yeah, no, I get that. It just, but it takes away the
The fact that you think if he's going to survive.
the
Yeah.
present. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've always been high on that. Oh, Rick should die, or
Oh, I absolutely
or
agree. I think Rick
or
is going to
Kirkman
die.
says that he's
I mean,
going
I
to
think
die.
realistically, like if you look at it, it should be Carl should be the main focus of it.
I absolutely
what I
agree.
mean?
I think it's Carl's
He's-
story.
Thank you. All right, awesome.
I'm
Then
in the
impressed.
same boat.
No, I think we're all in the same boat on that.
Awesome. One more thing that
Yeah.
I noticed you don't have on the sheets, and it's just like a quick touch on it. The week after that premiere is we get Stranger Things 2 back,
Yep.
which is really awesome.
What do you like, just off the top of your head? What do you think is going to happen? I mean,
I
obviously we saw from the preview.
So, I mean, the preview is actually not fresh in my head. But what I'm thinking is by pulling that kid like full time back in the normal world, like there's gonna be like more of a tear, like that's not so protected like
Yeah.
it was in the other facility. Like I have a feeling like that the other world just is gonna start slipping through.
Almost
That's
like
just-
a portal, like there's a portal that needs to be closed between both worlds.
Like he is like say like a little, say like portal knife, and he just happens
Mm.
to like cut little lines in reality.
I gotta say a
Interesting.
couple things. Number one, going back to Walking Dead real quick. John Rivera says he's on the fence about Old Man Rick 2.
Thank you.
And Johnny Leathers, his prediction for Stranger Things 2 is that Barb returns.
Oh my God, was that like the creepy looking chick?
That was the girl. That was
Who
the
got
nerdy girl. That
scooped
was
up in the pool.
yeah.
Nerdy girls need love too.
Hey,
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with nerdy girls. We love nerdy girls on this show. Real quick before we talk
Nerdy
about
and
things
dirty.
to be announced, one of the other things that I did put on the sheet that KB kind of touched upon a little bit, but anything you want to add is the Inhumans
Yep, that's tomorrow.
tomorrow. So Fridays on
Fridays.
ABC.
Looks like it's going to be a complete series, just this one.
Do we know how many episodes?
8.
Okay, so it's not a complete. It's a mini series.
Yep.
It's a mini. So it's going to be an eight
Yeah,
episode.
there's been a
miniseries.
lot of weird buzz because a lot of people wanted it as a movie, and then the whole fact that you got to have a TV budget and blah 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 blah, and you know what? Just give it a chance. Make your own call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So an 8
That's how I look at it.
episode mini series of the Inhumans. So that leads us. That's a great segue into the to be announced for 2017 because Agents of Shield season 5 is probably I'm assuming going to air in that time slot after the Inhumans because I don't
Well,
think.
no. Well, Shield was that on a Friday though?
Yes, it was on Friday.
Really?
I
thought
believe
it was
so.
Tuesdays.
No, it was on Tuesdays for a while. Then I think they bumped it to the Friday time
So
slot.
probably when Inhumans is
But
done.
what
they'll
I'm what
bump-
I'm yeah.
they'll have
So what I'm
Shield in
thinking
that
they haven't
slot.
announced it yet, but I'm wondering if it's only say 2 months and it's starting tomorrow. That'll put us into what end of November,
Yeah.
December,
Which is Shield start time.
right? So I
Yeah.
mean, I think that would be kind
around
of
that time.
kind of cool. Also, we were talking about streaming services earlier. The pilot, not the pilot, the teaser trailer
Punisher
for the Punisher dropped.
was after the Defenders.
Well, no, but they actually came out with a full one. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And
I saw that
it's,
one too.
they kind of blurred it up, but we don't know what month, but it did say the year 2017. So we know within the next 3 months
Yeah.
we're going to get The Punisher on Netflix, which I'm so pumped for. Then I also broke this down into both DC shows and Marvel shows to be announced for 2018. We already saw the trailers for that, but Black Lightning season 1 on the CW. It's not going to be set in the same world, same universe as Arrow, as Legends of Tomorrow, as The Flash. Supergirl takes place on a different Earth, so I think this is going to take place on a different Earth as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more of a looks like it's going to be more of a kind of like a Luke Cage vibe, where he's like trying to clean up the streets. He used to be a superhero. He's retired to protect his family, and then the streets kind of drag him back in. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be. That's going to be on the CW sometime in 2018.
What do you think of Krypton?
Well, that's the next one. Krypton season 1 on Sci-Fi.
So that's prequel.
It's going to be
Superman
it's going to
prequel.
focus on Superman's grandfather, trying to rebring the honor to the name the House of L, because apparently
So not
they've
even
been
his
disgraced.
parents.
It's not even his parents. It's going to be Superman's grandfather.
So they can make it a real sci-fi show.
Yeah, they can make it all. I don't know how. I mean, Don's shaking his head.
Why? Why put that show out? Are you like, is DC that hurting for money that you're gonna put a show that, number one, let me guess, takes place?
Maybe
Hey,
sci-fi came to them and approached
yeah,
them with the idea.
But still, then,
said,
even
"We
if
want it."
sci-fi did approach them with an idea like this, so they're on Krypton, so they don't have their powers, so they're not really like Superman. So we're watching another show that just takes place on another planet with, that's technologically advanced, and it's Superman's
But
grandfather.
it's so far outside of the universe of
Well-
DC that it can stand alone, maybe
Well, here's my thought to your
as a
to your
Star
point.
Trek-ish kind of thing.
And I can
oh
agree
wait,
with
oh
that.
my God, guys, this is for your geek. None of us talked about the new Star Trek show with
yeah,
Sasha.
forgot about that. Yeah,
Let's-
Oh my
talk
God,
about that.
that looks really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I pull that up. I don't know what the name of the new Star Trek
Discovery.
series is.
Discovery.
Is it
Yep.
Yeah.
pumped for that too.
I am.
But again, there's so much.
So
TV.
much it's easy to
I'm
miss.
nervous because it's CBS, but I'm giving that a shot.
Yeah.
That looks. It looks like they actually are doing something right. I didn't like Deep Space Nine. I love Next Generation.
Next
I love
Generation is
Generations.
awesome. Classic.
and classic.
Classic.
But yeah, Deep Space Nine wasn't good.
Voyager
and
wasn't. Ugh.
Voyager was horrible. But yeah, no, I'm excited about this.
Well,
But so the Krypton thing, it could be. It could be good. It depends on what they.
I'm not going to repeat what Johnny Leathers just wrote on. Actually, I'll clean it up. Johnny Leathers says Superman's Grandpappy ? Premieres October 21st, just after Young Sheldon on the Who Gives an S channel, or Who Gives a Crap
I
channel.
got to give him this though. I mean, that young Sheldon has the potential to be a moneymaker
Yeah.
all
Oh,
day
yeah.
long.
The ratings are crazy. You know?
It got good. See, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it, but I
Monday.
heard it was-
just
They
passed,
they
right?
said that the lead into it was so good, like the fact that so many people stuck around and didn't drop off within the first episode. They already like gave it the full season. Like
Good.
they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So hey, you know what? If it's making money and people watching it, that's
More
cool.
power, yeah.
And that brings me back to the whole Krypton discussion, because say Sci-Fi was interested in working with DC.
Yeah.
We want to bring in a DC show. You can't really bring in Superman because they kind of have that housed with Supergirl because he's on Supergirl.
Yep.
You can't do.
I feel like it's
Batman
only a
'cause
matter of
that's-
time before they do a Superman show.
Well, I'm saying you can't do Gotham. You can't do Batman because that's Gotham. You can't have two Bruce Waynes. There's already a Flash. There's already a Green Arrow. Maybe Wonder Woman, but I doubt they'd let that with the film franchise
No.
being.
Green
No.
Lantern.
Green Lantern would have been cool. Cyborg would have been cool. But again, you're talking.
See, to me, like, I think that's pushing it. Like Cyborg, like I love when you said Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. I don't know if wait.
Well, on
I
a
would-
TV budget,
that's what I'm afraid. That's
just like
the
what happens
next-
with Inhumans, like people like,
Realistically, HBO's probably the only channel that can dump that much money into a TV show like that and like put movie style money.
Netflix done it, but they've failed.
Yeah.
With what was it what was the one
wait.
they did?
Oh, I
Marco
got another-
Polo?
Is that what? Oh my God! But actually, that show looks pretty great though.
It was, but it failed.
It
But it
yeah,
failed.
But it
so
does. It looked great. You know what we didn't talk about? What about that new Will Smith show coming to Netflix in December, where he's like a human cop and like nowadays, but it's like with like orcs and elves and all sorts
Oh,
of.
I don't even know about
No!
this.
Oh wow! You gotta check out.
Give,
that
give,
preview.
give me a quick elevator pitch.
Quick elevator pitch is it seems like it's in some like alternate reality where like obviously like the timeline still progressed until like nowadays where but in like in normal society there are like different classes and species and there's like
Now,
humans and elves.
Is
and
Will
orcs.
Smith starring
Human.
in it?
Yes, he's
okay.
like, he's like
I
the
wasn't sure if
main
he,
cop,
that was.
yeah.
But that'd be kind of cool because it kind of reminds me of almost like an I Am Legend type of thing. When you like from the way you're describing.
Yeah,
it.
but no, I promise it's not that. It's like more would be like. Think of the world of Multipass. What's that girl? Mila, dude, the girl from Resident Evil, main character from Resident Evil. The movie where her and Bruce Willis are in it. Multipass.
Oh, like a Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fifth
imagine
Element.
like a Fifth Element type world, just maybe not that far in the future, but just like the craziness of that mixed with, I gotta find it now because I feel like I'm
Yeah,
explaining.
you're gonna have to look it up.
Yeah.
While we're
yeah,
doing that
take
too.
But
Erin-
let's talk about those other two DC
well, yeah,
shows,
hold on,
right?
real quick. Erin said she thought that young Sheldon was just okay. She goes, she's got a little bit biased because she's a big Jim Parsons fan. But she said she's going to try to give it a chance, and you know what? If it can actually lead to something, like I said, the viewership stays. I think CBS has another hit.
Yeah, that's I don't know that whole franchise altogether.
I mean,
is-
I'm
a
not
beast.
trying to
It's a beast.
I don't dislike The Big Bang Theory. I like the show. I just think it's very geek specific with like the references and whatnot. But I
But
don't
you know
think
what?
as far as
A
a
lot of
comedy
people
goes,
watch it.
I think it's a little bit more of a predictable comedy because I can like watch the show and like know where the jokes are going before they even land. And that's not to pat myself on the back, but I'm saying
no, I know, but
I think a lot of it is I just love the fact that Sheldon is always wearing some type of comic book shirt and that's cool because that's the geek
because we can see it we all see it through our eyes. Imagine people who are not at all like.
Well,
Right.
plus it's in
you know?
syndication, so people are watching it on regular TV. They're watching it when, like, my wife and I all the time when we make dinner. There's nothing else on. Big Bang
you can
Theory.
watch like that
It's-
2-hour block
yeah.
and just get caught up in it.
Yeah,
yeah.
and just,
it's
and
definitely
that's
one
where
of
it's
those
making its money.
go-tos.
Syndication. No, this does look good.
You know what I mean? See it? Like, look at
Yeah,
Will
we're
Smith's partnered with
so this
Norton.
is going to be really great for people that are listening or watching.
We
but
are
we're gonna
really sorry, guys.
we're just kind of looking
We'll
at
post this to the Facebook page, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Don,
yeah, yeah,
Don,
yeah,
you can if you can
definitely.
post that to the Facebook
Yeah.
page about the preview.
Yeah,
But it looks like he's showing us that
What's
new
the
Will.
name of the show?
Oh, jeez.
See, there you
See,
go,
now you found the
KB.
name of the-
Bright.
Bright. It's just called
Bright,
Bright.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh wait, I'll share that right now.
Yeah, share it right now so people can check it out.
Yeah, share
Actually,
it on
that
the
takes,
Facebook.
that takes the focus off of us. No.
Yeah, that's great. But no, let's get back to our little preview
So,
here.
a couple of the DC
We have a couple
shows.
of the DC shows, and
Yeah.
these are not going to be on cable. These are going to be on the new DC streaming service that's coming out.
So Titans, I'm excited
Titans. It's going to be a live action Titans. We know there's going to be Raven. We know there's going to be Nightwing. We know there's going to be
for. Is it Starfire?
Starfire. I don't know if Beast Boy has been confirmed yet.
Cyborg?
No, it's not going to be Cyborg.
See, now that's interesting because I always look at
Hawk
Cyborg
and
as
Dove. Hawk and Dove
okay.
are going to be part of it too, but it's going to be a live action. I think they won't put Cyborg in
Because of the whole movie
because
thing
of the
and-
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Young Justice. What? I've never really. Wait, what is Young Justice? I've never really looked into that. Never really paid attention to it.
Hold on one second. I just want to give
Is-
a quick shout out to first time viewer Kate, who's saying hello, and Rich is saying these are buddy of his. So we're Rich's buddies. So hello, Kate. Thank you
Hi,
for joining
Kate
the show.
Eppers.
For those just joining us, we're going through the entire superhero geekery of fall TV preview.
And we're sweating in here
yeah,
because
it's
there's
extremely
no
warm.
air
There's-
conditioning. It is
No.
hot as hell
I
in here.
don't know if he's still watching, but CEO of 59 Media. Let's put that in the suggestion box that's non-existent
Oh
here.
man.
But we'll bring a fan in, I guess, next week. But yes, the DC streaming services, Titans, live action Titans, and Young Justice season 3. So Young Justice season 1 and 2 was it was lauded. It was a great show. People loved that show.
Are we going off the animated with like Young Robin and
Yeah, it's
Is
going to
that
be
what it
season
is?
3
I've
of that
never
on the
really
DC
watched it.
streaming service.
animated?
Yes.
Okay, I'm all about
So it's
that.
so it's
I
almost
like
like
that.
another
So
Teen Titans.
they're
or-
doing a live Titans, which is going to be the adult versions of Raven and Starfire, and
Okay.
but they're doing a Young Justice, the Young Justice cartoon,
Okay, so
season 3.
Young Justice
is
League,
going to be
basically.
yeah, it's basically Young Robin.
Never really.
It was a good show. It wasn't like for kids. It wasn't like a Teen Titans Go or anything like that. It was more of a
Teen Titans
Young
Go is
Justice-
hilarious.
No, it's hilarious, but it's still very. It's,
I liked it.
It is.
It's very kiddie. Young Justice has a little bit more mature elements. I think Robin right now is the Tim Drake version because Dick Grayson's already become Nightwing, and that,
okay.
and it deals with a lot of like a little bit more adult themes with relationships. Like Miss Martian was in a relationship with Superboy, and
I don't
then,
like that.
But did you watch the first few seasons?
No,
Okay.
I've watched scattered episodes.
But it's
No,
done really well.
show's
The
great. I
animation's
just-
good.
No, I agree. 100% I agree. Usually I go against you on
You know, it's
on
just
anything
though when you
DC,
have
but-
so many of these shows, it's like, where do you put your time?
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of TV. And that's why I think Nielsen ratings are, again, antiquated. I think if you do DVR or on demand and you use those numbers to, because people binge watch everything now too.
Yeah.
Since you have like tons of Marvel stuff, I'm just gonna touch on something that I'm really looking forward
Go
to.
for
That's
it.
not Marvel nor DC,
Go for
which
it.
I know you guys will jump right on board.
This is a good buffer.
Westworld season 2.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my
I still
God.
got to finish season 1.
When
Oh,
is
jeez.
what?
So then I can't even.
I have no time. You can talk about it. Go ahead.
Make time.
Spoiler alert! Like you did finish it,
Yes.
right? Like the whole samurai world.
Ugh.
Like I'm hoping that we get a little peek
Oh,
of
hoping
that
we get.
side.
Oh,
Imagine there's like a night world.
there's
like you could
probably 5 different theme parks.
Go, oh man,
It's just.
you
it's
need
just
to finish that. I'm
unbelievable.
disappointed.
When-
Shame.
When is the?
Shame.
Yes, you need to take a walk of shame. Although you will not
We do
see
not.
Jay Free walking naked down Main Street in
See?
Fall River.
Oh,
But
man.
anyway, when is that? Do we know when?
No.
Okay, but it's soon.
Youngblood,
It's
you
gotta be
are a
soon.
beast. Throwing them up the other day. I saw you, kid. Oh, man. That's my buddy. That's backyard wrestling right there at its finest.
Okay. Oh, we'll see. Something else you and I have in common. We used to do that back
yeah,
in the day.
I was dark side.
I do want to point out though, you're ragging on me a little bit for not watching Westworld.
Oh,
If you'd like
okay.
to plan out a show and type everything up, and,
A Westworld related show?
Oh, it's not about you typing it up. It's about the fact you haven't watched it.
Yeah, no. I'll.
all my free time goes into producing bits and segments for this show.
Oh man.
At least 3 nights a week, I'm doing stuff for this show. So it's a labor of love.
No,
sir.
exactly.
But, no,
and
you're-
I
but again,
appreciate
there's too much
everything
TV.
that you put into this.
There's too much TV.
You've made it so I didn't feel like an idiot coming here, Joe, because
Well,
I was not ready.
And
I
you're
told
not.
You that
You're
beforehand.
not. We love you, Don. You're a great addition to the show. Okay, so let's get into some of the Marvel stuff real quick.
Oh, Legion.
Legion season 2. I still have to finish season 1 of that too
Legion is
Okay,
so
we both do.
good.
on
The only-
FX.
Yeah.
Great.
You guys are missing out, and it's only 10 episodes. Like,
Right, but it's a different type. It's a very dark and trippy. It's like a
It is.
It's like the
you
Inception.
You
It's
cannot.
Inception.
You have to dedicate
That's
time.
a channel that I want these shows to be
but
on.
you cannot. You cannot just. It's like Game of Thrones. You cannot watch it while you're doing something else.
Yeah.
You have to focus on Legion, or you will be totally lost.
I feel like what was
But the way that season ended,
I can't even think of the God. It was like a super like different feudal style Japan, like futuristic Badland into the
That-
Badlands.
yeah.
Into the Badlands. Oh, that's another show.
It looks so
I,
good.
I watched Into the Badlands. It's awesome.
I
I've
watched like
both
3
two
episodes
seasons.
and I was really into it. And then like once I started missing like like the
You can't
4th, 5th,
devote
and
like
6th.
yeah. You got to
There's
pick
just
and
so
choose.
many. It's just so many shows. It's hard to keep.
Oh,
up.
that was the point to all this is a network like FX, a network like AMC. You know what I mean? I'll stay away from the HBO. It's like these are the networks and stuff like Netflix, not even Hulu because I've watched Hulu originals that are just some of them are kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
But we want our kind of geeky
The
stuff
Handmaid's
to be
Tale
put
is the
on
only thing
networks
that I've
like this.
actually kind of liked.
Stuff like channels like this is only my opinion. Channels like ABC and CW, we want to like give that baby feeder stuff to like the next generation of up and coming like teens or preteens to get them into what I mean just from
Right.
my perspective.
Yeah.
This is what I go for. I love that you love stuff and I learned so much from you guys watching that stuff and then I get to go like spew it like it's my own.
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
know? So I
Rehash.
get the luxury of not liking it but still learning from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And to your point, you're absolutely right. The CW shows specifically are a little bit more angsty and kind of almost geared toward, late teens, early 20s people.
Hormones
Yeah.
into
But it's a lot more involved with a lot of like the emotions and love and whatnot, which is cool. But there's also like the Flash, even though there are bits and pieces of that, and it can be very angsty, is a comic book come to life. On
I think
They
Flash-
really are. The DC shows really are.
right, and Arrow is very gritty. They try to-
Supergirl is really like that.
Supergirl is like a comic book, and Legends of Tomorrow
Yeah.
is just fun. It's just fun, and I get your point. But to your point, or to my point rather, is I like when these shows, even though they can be considered a little bit more fluff and not as what we want as geeks per se, it doesn't follow the comic books exactly. It's putting more eyes on the characters. Even
Yeah.
if somebody like I have certain people. Like I said, I just went to Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in New York, New Jersey. A lot of those people there aren't big comic book people. They're fans of Stephen Amell because of the community that he's built, and the fact that they watch Arrow because of it. They don't necessarily watch Legends. Some of them do, some of them don't, or Flash, or some fans are just of Flash and not Arrow, and that's all well and good. But it's more to the general public where more people are like, oh, let me check out. Oh, the Justice League movie's coming out. I watched Flash, and now there's going to be a different version of the Flash.
Now I'll go
in
check that
movie.
out.
Now they'll check that movie out, or maybe like, hey, we'll go buy those comic books because look, there's a Flash comic book. I wanted to see how it differs from the TV show, and it's putting more eyes. You know what I mean?
And the other thing is that the DC world on the CW is lighthearted. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yes and no.
No, I mean
Arrow is
it gets,
super dark.
But even
Arrow's like Nolan Batman.
But
dark.
but even Oliver Queen, there's the little jokes and quibs that you that you can laugh at.
Like Legends, for example. Legends. Last season, they ended
Rory
up,
is hilarious.
Rory's hilarious, but like they met George Lucas back before he made the Star Wars
that episode's
movies,
awesome.
And he quit filmmaking, and two of the main characters lost their memories because one of them wanted to become a scientist after watching Star Wars, and the other one wanted to become a historian after watching Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just they forgot who they were.
Awesome.
So they had to talk George Lucas back.
But there were a couple of bits that paid like respect to his works because when the girl playing Vixen in that is from the 20s, so she doesn't know
What Star Wars
what Star Wars or Raiders
has
are.
no
So
idea.
she's like, you need to. She goes, help us, George Lucas. You're our only hope. And there's so
That's
many
so
like
funny.
little bits. When and then there's another bit where the villains capture them and they're about to compress them in a trash compactor, and that's straight out of and there's so many like
Well, it's so funny the
little-
only hope thing because it's like, oh, that's how you wrote it in the movie. Like, it's hilarious.
Before we get into more of the Marvel stuff, actually, Rich, I'm gonna put a pin in that comment because I'm gonna talk about one other thing before we get into Netflix. But Cloak and Dagger, who I was never a big fan of in the comic books,
I thought they were gonna have a movie.
they're coming to season 1 on Freeform, which is formerly ABC Family.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
interesting.
curious to see how that's gonna be. But Cloak and Dagger, like I said, never really got into them. I know Cloak can like open up like Dark Force portals or something along those lines. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see that. But Rich made a comment that he wants to see Netflix do Blade as a TV show.
That would be good.
Wait a second. Blade was already done as a TV show on Spike, and it was horrendous.
No, but Netflix take it, redo it.
yeah,
He says he knows it
Do
was.
it the way it
And
should
Rich
be.
says he knows it was already a show, but they need
No.
Wesley.
It needs that grittiness.
Oh,
It needs that grittiness that Netflix
do
provides.
Spawn.
Spawn's
Rich, I'm
another one.
surprised that you wouldn't
Spawn
go
is
with
another
Spawn.
one.
That would be phenomenal.
Spawn would. I don't know if they're doing if they're doing
But
that
I think does
animated or
HBO
something.
still have something to
I think they- I
latch
think-
on? Do they have something with Spawn?
HBO
I believe
should
so.
Let it go.
But talking about Netflix,
Spawn, the
also
animated
to
series,
be
is
announced
awesome.
2018. Luke Cage season 2. I don't know how they're going to.
Which one do you
that.
think's coming out first?
I think
Jessica Jones, isn't it?
It's either Jessica Jones season
Daredevil.
2 or Daredevil season 3.
I think it's gonna go Jessica, then Daredevil, then
Yeah.
Luke, then Iron Fist.
Yep. So we're talking season 2 of Luke Cage, season 2 of Jessica Jones, season 2 of Iron Fist, and season 3 of Daredevil. And we get an idea of where Daredevil's going at the end of the Defenders.
Yep.
The whole Born Again storyline.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see, and it's kind of an aside back to the Punisher. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle because Karen Page is going to be in the Punisher series. Spoiler alert for those that read the Born Again storyline or that haven't read the Born Again storyline. In the comic books, Karen Page basically gets down on her luck. She ends up becoming a porn star and gets a heroin addiction, and she ends up selling Matt Murdock's identity to the Kingpin for a fix because she's out and she's got no money. So I'm wondering if they're going to go
love
that
to
route.
see the Kingpin come back.
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah,
that's
he
what they're going to
was
do. So the
phenomenal.
idea
He
is
was awesome. Vince Vaughn
Kingpin
was
in the
awesome.
comic books absolutely ruins Matt Murdock's life. So I'm wondering if that's the route they're going with this new season of Daredevil. We'll see. Rich says McFarlane is writing. I'm assuming that's for
For the Spawn movie.
Spawn
yeah.
movie. Yeah. So very cool.
Well, Spawn movie needs to be done again because the first one was okay. But
I'm wondering how dark and and you talked a little bit earlier. So those were the Netflix series. There's also a channel on cable called FXX, which they do every Simpsons. They did a whole Simpsons. What do I call
It's Always Sunny's on there too.
Always Sunny.
That's my.
But they did a whole,
my jam.
oh my God, a marathon of every single episode of The Simpsons at the launch of the channel.
Yeah.
Like for I don't forget how many days it was, but it was like all 20-something seasons. But they're bringing a Deadpool animated series. I think that would
that
be
could
awesome.
be really
and
awesome.
it's gonna be great because it's gonna be grown up.
That's gonna
it's-
be
it's-
like a Afro Samurai-ish kind of.
Yes, Afro.
Love that.
Boondocks.
Love that.
It's gonna be
Boondocks
fantastic.
Kind of feel probably.
So that's all the stuff to be announced in 2017 and 2018 for DC and Marvel. But we also want to talk about things that are still in development right now. And let's talk a little bit about that. So we talked earlier that Vixen has Series 2 on the CW seed. I believe Matt Ryan's going to be voicing a Constantine animated series on the CW seed. I would love to see that as a live show because I think he did amazing. Even though they only got one season on NBC and they canceled it, I really, really liked that show. I thought he encompassed the characteristics of Constantine so well. So I'm curious, and I'm happy to see him coming back in Constantine.
Sex Criminals.
KB, one of his favorite comic books, Sex Criminals.
Sex Criminals. Awesome.
Give as clean as you can make it. That's going to be coming to Universal
Okay,
TV. But give me a synopsis.
so-
What is the plot of Sex
So
Criminals?
basically, it's two. It's a young couple. Growing up, they are finding themselves sexually, and what they come to realize is that every time they orgasm, time stops,
freezes time.
freezes time, and then
And what do they do when time freezes, KB?
they rob banks.
Interesting.
So what would you do if you could freeze time? It's a good question.
Well, if it's after having sex, I'd try to find a girl to have sex with.
That is, I don't know. I don't
I
know
need-
if that's
I need-
lighthearted or dark.
I need the price
That's
is
actually
right.
kind
Phil.
of dark.
Yeah, sorry, I bring dark humor.
that is
sometimes.
totally
So-
a show that should be on BBC.
But yeah,
America.
and there's some funny stuff in it too, like in the comics, like the guy, he hates his boss, so he'll like go in the bathroom, take care of himself, and then poop in his plants.
Oh my god.
Like
So,
it's just
you know what
yeah,
that
it's-
reminds me of.
it's
That reminds me
hilarious.
of the movie Click when David Hasselhoff
Yeah.
plays the boss and Adam Sandler freezes it
Yep.
and slaps him a couple times.
So think about Click, but a more grown up
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then they find out that there's other people like this that have different sexual powers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something gritty and grown up?
Sin City.
Sin City, the Weinstein Company, Dimension Films is working on a Sin City television show,
Interesting.
which I think could be. I love the original movie. I love the books. Wasn't a huge fan of the second movie.
I didn't even see the second movie.
But they have a huge cast of characters, whether it's a prequel or they're doing something just set in that world. It can be very dark and gritty, and I'm down.
well,
for
especially
that.
if the show looks a lot like the movie, at least in the
It
cinematography
I love
and
how
the
cinematography-
styling, it'll be interesting.
I'm gonna do the next one, then I'm gonna skip over a couple others. But Static Shock, another hero, is coming. Is being developed by
Static
Warner
Shock.
Brothers. He basically has the powers of electricity.
Yeah.
and
He's
he,
Green
remember
Lantern's
that.
kid, right?
I
One version of Green Lantern's kid.
don't know. I don't know that version of him. I know the kid basically surfboards on a manhole
Yeah, but
cover.
Yeah.
So I only know this because there's an episode, actually one of like the last episodes of Batman Beyond. Oh, actually, Batman the Animated Series is one of the two. One of our
Yeah.
shows.
Rich, I totally agree with you. Netflix needs to do Ghost Rider,
Well, we've already kind of seen him on Agents of Shield.
but a darker Agents of
Okay,
Shield can
here's
only
what,
go
here's
so
what
far.
you do.
with
How about
it.
you do? How about you do just a supernatural show on Netflix? You can bring in.
Penance.
You can bring in
Like
Justice League
Ghost-
Dark?
or not even Justice League Dark. You
Something
can bring
like
in
that.
Ghost Rider. You can bring in Blade. You can bring in what's his name, Morbius, the living vampire.
The dark
you can
characters.
have them all
That'd be
like
kinda
hunt,
cool.
hunt supernatural things.
Yeah.
That would be actually really cool. I'd watch that.
Wow. That you should pitch that to someone.
Well, that's why I'm here, and they're making the big bucks. But Static Shock by Warner Brothers. Moving down to the bottom of our list because I'm not as familiar with these. Judge Dredd Mega City 1, Season 1's coming to I Am Global / Rebellion. Not a huge Judge Dredd fan, but they're developing
I've seen some of it.
a
The
property
last
of that.
Dredd movie by itself was good.
I just like the
It was
Stallone
really good.
one. I didn't see the reboot of
The
it.
reboot
with,
was actually really good.
Yeah.
It was really good. I liked it.
Don, to your point, I've never read the book, but it's a very popular book, and people say it's one of the greatest.
Why the Last Man?
Why the Last Man is coming to FX. They're doing a series based
Never
on
read
that.
it.
But it gets rave reviews as a great comic as far as graphic novels go too. So that's going to be kind of cool.
Witchblade.
Witchblade coming to
Read a little bit of Witchblade.
NBC.
It's good.
Witchblade. I mean, it's a little bit more like I'm curious to see how they do it because I could see that being a little bit more mature because
Yep.
that's usually like a
Yeah,
TV,
NBC doesn't seem to be the
it's
right
like
network.
It's usually like
for
a
that.
17 plus book. So I'm
That's
curious
more like
to
an
see.
FX kind of thing, I would think.
Right. But the one I'm most
Yep.
excited for.
Yes, this is a coolest one, but I'm going to say this really quick. I'm sorry. NBC will do a good job with this. NBC is who did Heroes, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
For network TV, NBC actually can do a really, really good
But
job. ABC, on the other hand, I'm sorry.
Well,
It's more family friendly.
Yeah, there's a show that they have, which is, I'm wicked sorry for doing this, Jeff, too.
No, go for it.
What is it? The one that's like all the Disney characters are in it, like Happily Ever After.
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time. That show right there is so genius. The concept of that show could be like amazing if they just put some more
Is
money
that the
into
couple
it.
show you and your wife watch?
No,
Well,
it's
so,
not.
okay,
no,
so
she watches awesome.
I'm
stuff.
gonna put a timeout real quick.
Sorry.
So Once Upon a Time, no, that is ABC because ABC is owned by Disney.
Yeah,
So they have all the rights to those characters. In the same token, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is starting, what, season 5?
5, yeah.
So 5. So it's, even though it's ABC and it's all the Marvel stuff, if there's going to be Marvel stuff that that Disney wants to do and put on TV,
It goes to
other
ABC,
than
'cause that's
Netflix,
their
it's going to be ABC.
No, I
But
get it.
NBC also had Constantine, and they canceled that after the first season.
I wish Disney would throw more money
Well, you
at
got
this TV show.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you got
I
the
agree.
Marvel stuff that they don't have.
The Marvel
control of.
stuff
the
is-
X-Men stuff,
Right, but okay, so let's go back to that. So yes, certain film rights and whatnot, but again, Fox is putting out a,
Legion,
We-
Legion is
Legion and
Legion,
Gifted.
Gifted. But they have the rights to the X-Men stuff. They have the rights to the Fantastic Four stuff. Other characters that still sit with the rights at Disney, at Marvel, can be those characters from those movies. So I'm saying, but if there's going to be something done superhero-wise, unless it's not owned by Marvel, it's not going to see its life on another
yeah,
network other than ABC.
You know, I'm surprised Shield is still on the air. I mean, I love the show, but I know ratings-wise, it's kind of.
Yeah, but they're actually getting into a lot more comic book type stuff now with the
Last season
superpowers
revived
and
a lot of.
There's a lot of
things.
cool things. They
Yeah.
brought Ghost Rider on,
Yeah.
for Christ's sake.
It revived a lot of things.
Real quick, I mean, we'll
this is the
we'll
most
get out of
exciting
here.
one,
Yes,
this last
but real quick, I want to talk about one more thing about that. Is NBC also had a TV show that I was really into called Powerless,
I loved Powerless,
and it was
so
more
funny.
it was like a superhero version of The Office, where it's like everybody works in this building and they do insurance for all the damage caused by superheroes.
That's pretty
and they come
cool.
up with like different, and it's run by
not insurance invention.
It's an invention, yeah. But
Yeah.
they used the premise was it was an insurance place, but then they turned it to it was kind of like an R&D place run by Bruce Wayne's cousin.
Yeah,
I could see that being good though. Say,
it was
like,
good, but it got canceled.
And the
Yeah.
ratings weren't there, and if you watch any of the shows, Vanessa Hudgens was the role.
Oh, she was so
lead in
cute.
that. Danny Pudi, who was on
He's from
Community.
one of my
Funny,
shows.
real
I
funny.
love Community. He was like one of the guys.
Funny
I think
dude.
it was I forget who else was on it, but I know it was Ron Funches or somebody else, a comedian,
Yeah.
really funny on it. And then they
took like third tier superheroes and
it was
villains and threw them
hilarious.
in, and it was good.
Adam West filmed a show, and then they canceled the show right before he died. And then when he passed, they aired that show, which I thought was really cool of them, like in honor.
I want
of
to tie
Adam West.
everything in while because this is a good. I've been talking about this all week. You just mentioned Community. Community's creator is Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon is creator of My Rick and Morty, which was one of my favorite shows ever.
and Morty
ever,
is awesome.
Ever. It's so stupid that it's genius.
I'm
But,
Mr. Basics. Look at me.
We're not supposed to live this long.
2 days is an eternity in Basics time.
But I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game King. I'm gonna tie the whole Dan Harmon and Game King thing together. So there's this thing called Harmon Quest, which is Dan Harmon and his friends playing this made-up version, their own made-up version of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's actually showing like these, semi-famous comedians and whatever, like, I don't know, TV acting comedians, like going and playing this game, and then it bounces back and forth between them playing and like the animation of it, and it seems pretty genius. But our friends at Game King had told us that they wanted to start taping some of their D&D stuff, doing it online, which I got tons of respect for, because I think that's really, really cool. So a little shout out Game King,
Well,
shout out Dan Harmon.
KB, you mentioned Game King a little earlier before we went on air. Why don't you tell them about that too? Since we're talking about
So
it.
on October 21st, they're having Saturday, October 21st, they're having an all-day game day
Nice.
to celebrate 5 years of being
5
open.
years being in business.
Yeah.
So if anybody likes
Yeah.
any type of role playing game, swing by Game King on October 21st. It's a Saturday. Is that what we said?
Yep. Yep.
So it's a Saturday. So if you work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, hey, you can come swing by even if you want to swing by for like 15 minutes and check them out and see what
Also,
people are doing.
sometimes you get some free stuff. Like if you want to learn Magic, they give you like free decks because
Yeah.
Wizards
Oh.
of the Coast gives like the free Magic decks and stuff. So if you want to learn a new game, it's the place to go.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a blast. So shout out to our friends at Game King. But last but not least, let's get getting back into topic, and then we'll thank our amazing sponsors and get out of here. But the one I'm looking most forward to that's in development, they're bringing to HBO Watchmen. I don't know if it's going to be a prequel. I don't know if it's going to be an aftermath.
It doesn't matter.
But to me,
No.
because I love the movie, I love the movie.
You know,
I
it's
love
so
the
funny.
book. I
It's
love
so
the
funny
graphic
how the
novel.
movie didn't really do well, but it's for the real followers of the book. Like,
Yeah, I mean they changed a little bit in the movie as opposed they left out the whole black ship, the whatever the can't
Yeah.
think of the name of the ship, that little side story.
that wasn't really
And they changed the protagonist at the end, like the
an explosion
the
instead
antagonist at the end rather. The villain, instead of being this giant alien squid
Yeah.
thing,
It was actually.
it was more. They tried to make it more real world, which again
Yep.
I think it made sense.
Yep.
So I'm really pumped to see that.
I just wonder when we're gonna see that, like in development. It's like
It could be 2018. It could be 2019.
probably after Game of Thrones is done.
But we got 4 years. Even though like our current Game of Thrones timeline, we have 1 year, but they're gonna probably take a year off. Then when we hit with 4 more years of Game of Thrones.
Yep.
4 more years. 4 more years.
Well, with all their spin-offs they're gonna work
Yeah,
on.
that's what I mean. That's
I'm
gonna
curious
be
to
cool.
see. I'm interested, and we'll be talking about that once we get more information
hell
on
yeah.
that as well.
Definitely.
So before we get out of here, Rich, I love you, buddy, but you know everybody's entitled to their opinion. But he says the movie was horrible. The Watchmen movie was horrible.
No, it.
Rich has a very unique taste. You know, so that's so.
Oh
let's-
come on, Rich! You didn't like Rorschach?
right? Rorschach.
Like
was awesome.
Rorschach, I think would be right up Rich's alley.
I don't know. I love that movie. Anyway, let's
I know.
before we
and
get out
Rich,
of here.
I'm sorry, but you gave it 9 out of 10. So I'm sorry. I don't
Rich-
accept.
Rich
the
and
movie
I think a lot
Don.
of people probably
horrible.
gave it 9 out of 10.
I'm sorry.
All right, so let's as you see, scrolling through the videos that for those that are watching on Facebook Live, want to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors who help keep this show running. Check out Local Blast for all your marketing needs. Pachico's Furniture, if you're looking to buy any used furniture or move, they have moving services. You'll see their information. And Ritual Sweat Society, our friend of the show, Tara J, opened up her own booty yoga studio.
You going to be doing that?
No, but I will want to get her on here at one point to talk about it, or one of her other teachers to get her on here and talk about that.
Some booty yoga would probably be good for us.
Well, let me tell you,
Speak for yourselves.
Listen.
I do not
Not
need
you.
to be here
Not
for
you,
booty
my
yoga.
no. Well, it's booty in the sense it's BUTI. It's more of a hip hop dance. It's more of a dance and yoga.
I
at the
didn't
same
know
time.
that booty was spelled BUTY for hip hop.
It's not. It's
That's
not,
how they spell it in the
it's
Urban
not-
Dictionary.
It's not booty as in butt. It's a different meaning.
It's
of
like
that.
a bootylicious. I get it.
No, you know what?
No,
Well,
yeah.
maybe we'll have Tara on here.
And
to
she can explain
the
it.
difference. Yeah,
Oh,
or one of
great.
somebody else can explain.
Okay,
it.
yeah, we get that.
But 3 great sponsors. Give them all some love. Next week, Don, you said you're most likely not going to.
I'm
going
going to take a vacation week next week.
So, your boy Nolan, speaking of, just jumped on
Nolan
and
is-
said,
that's an awesome dude right there. Rich, I'm not going to be here next week. I'm really sorry, buddy. You're bringing a whole army with you, so it's a good
well,
week
he's,
for me
he,
to
him and
spend
him
with
and
my
his
family.
buddy, is a local filmmaker.
Yeah, no, I'm excited
He's going to be
for
talking
it.
about all the projects coming up. So we're going to have a horror theme starting in October, leading up to Halloween. We're going to try to keep some horror theme stuff going. Rich and his buddy are going to be here. They're going to be talking about some projects they're working on. We're going to ask him a bunch of questions about, why he wanted to become a filmmaker, the company he started, what movies got him into it, like some background on him.
Ooh.
And we'll be talking about like some of just the stuff. I want to ask him, what does he think is the greatest blockbuster horror movie, and which horror movie just didn't live up to his expectations?
And a Mount Rushmore of
And the Mount Rushmore of horror movie characters.
You know what's going to be great? I'm actually going to be on the opposite end. I'm going to be the one chiming in. And,
I'll be
razzing Rich.
There you go. So it'll be a little juxtaposition where
Yes,
Rich
it
will be
will.
in your seat,
Yes.
and I'll be reading all those comments, Don. So you
Very
comment,
good.
and I'll be razzing
commenting
Rich.
away.
Don and I will be fighting next week.
Well, that's what he said. It's-
Yeah.
So we're a little delayed on Facebook
Yeah.
Live, about 30 seconds. So I think Rich missed that part. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for watching and listening on the podcast. Couple things to check out. Check out our Facebook page.
Tell us what you're excited to see this fall.
Yeah,
'Cause it gives us ideas for shows,
Mention in the comments here. Mention what other topics do you want to see on the show? Hit us up on Facebook on Free Your Geek Podcast.
If you want to be a guest,
If you want to be a guest, you want to talk about whatever you geek out about, let us know. We're located locally in Fall River, Massachusetts. So if you're within a half an hour drive, we'd love to have you. Check out our
Johnny Leather, get in
Johnny
touch with us.
Leathers.
Check out Johnny Leather. We keep him in a closet.
Yeah, we're gonna wear our Johnny Leathers.
Whoa.
Wait a second.
He's talking about chaps, guys.
I mean
he
to say
wears
that?
assless chaps. You just can't see it.
HBK, Shawn Michaels. You know what I'm saying? No, that's Ric Flair.
Hey, I had to just.
The Irish Ric Flair. That's a callback. It's good.
That was awesome.
It's his callback. It's a callback.
Oh man.
So yeah, so check out Instagram and Twitter for your geek on both of those. Again, Game King. Check out our sponsors as you see on the screen here. What else you guys got? Anything else you want to plug?
Oh, I got a little plug session.
Go for it.
All right. So, for any of you who are left watching with us here, you guys know the Don. You know, I chef it up over at Tap House. We are doing some Italian stuff, so it's fitting that
The Italian
Don,
tap house.
we're
The
doing
Don is doing the Italian
The Don's
cooking.
doing some Italian stuff at Tap House tomorrow, and I'm gonna be making some food that you can't refuse, if you know what I'm saying. So no, on a real note, guys, we got doing big things with Tap House again. We're really pushing the social media aspect, pulling people in with our great specials that we got going on now. Like, I mean, we are on like full like.
When is this again?
What? Huh?
Wait, when
Hoodles?
is it- when-
Hoodles and
when is
oodles?
this again?
We're talking about.
When you were Italian it up?
I'm Italian it up tonight, as a matter of fact. If you want to go to Tap House tonight and have a fine Italian meal, you go to a Tap House, huh?
Fans of the show, if you want to see the Don,
The Don does not do stand up.
if you want to, well, no, but the Don does not do stand up, and you take the name the Don after the Rock. Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Oh, man.
You'll be tasting what the Don is cooking.
Oh, man. And that's the bottom line. Because the Don cooks so.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little Stone Cold for you too.
I had to mix them together.
No, it's all good. But check out Tap House again, a local business here in Fall River. Also, 59 Media. Check out their website. Again, Pachico's Furniture, Local Blast, all local to the Fall River area. And then Ritual Sweat, which is not that far from Fall River. It's a 10-minute drive.
And Jay Free changed our catchphrase.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if you were here.
he can't
'cause
say it anymore.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna have to say it because I don't remember.
no. You can still say get your geek on, but I'll just say, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your dose of geek for the week.
Get your geek on.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. That was.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.